Good morning, Neverland. What is going on, Archons? Welcome to another episode of my Patreon supporters deck analysis. And I have to say, this month, Vaultboy gave me something that is truly a spectacle to behold. As always, I have decided to just, hide the score. So all you can see is stats. This is the way I will always do this. I like doing it this way. I think it actually provides the best way to see the deck. And it does not allow any bias or judgments to be passed based on numbers alone, or a final number. So this week we have S. Idlewild, the Tower Princess. Now, folks, look at those numbers there. Look at everything here. Pretty good. I'm digging it. Let's take a moment to just glance over everything here. So, as you can see, we got this very nice creature to action ratio. It's pretty good, I would say. Now, obviously, there's some things that stand out here a little bit more than others. That being that there are 2 epic quests. Okay, for those of you not familiar, you know what that actually makes. For those of you not fulfilled by epic quest, because that is probably the more likely scenario within this card. For those of you not familiar with epic quest, it is a Sanctum artifact that is a key cheat that states play archive each friendly night creature from play. Then it has an Omni ability. If you've played 7 or more Sanctum cards this turn, destroy epic quest and forge a key at no cost. If you can pull it off, arguably one of the best key cheats because you don't spend Ember. But a double epic quest is even more interesting because if you get them both out, when you can pull off one, that means you're getting 2 keys. You're laughing. So what else makes this so interesting? Well, the epic quest happens to come with a very unicorn thing, which is 2, 3, 4, 5 nights in Sanctum. But it also has an Onyx Knight, and this is where things get real interesting with this deck. This Onyx Knight is actually maybe the most interesting part. And when I say this, there's a pair of them. I think is the most interesting part of this deck because Onyx Knight, jeepers, I'm out of it today, says destroy each creature with odd power. And that's where things are interesting here because odd power only accounts for, I believe, 2 creatures here. Okay? 2 creatures. One being Maruk the Mark and the other being Dis Ambassador. That's it. Those are all of the odd creatures. There's 21 creatures in this deck. That means you're dropping Onyx Knight with basically no downside for you. None. Amazing. Now, if we're going to look at just the stats over here, we got Ember of 3.3. That's where things get a little bit heaty here. So what is it stating that it counts? So we got Schuler, Take Hostages, Maruk, Cermeros, and Silver Key Imp. Well, that is problematic. Luckily, this is being countered with a really nice 24 expected Ember. So that means this deck can go, and you're just going to go off to the races, and you're sprinting with this deck. And I think the play you're looking for is actually, you're going to close out with Epic Quest. You kind of want to get Key 1 underway, and then from there, all you're doing is trying to use your Logos to get your lab work, double sloppy lab work, Hex Beyond, Titan Librarian, and ZOAX Researcher to get those Sanctum cards in your archive so you can have that epic turn. Pun intended. So that's what I think is Logos you want to get. I think Eureka turn 1, I'd almost hard maul for it. I actually think if your opponent does not have artifact control, you even want to get an epic quest out, one of them out early, just so you have the other one. Maybe not though. I've been debating when I was looking this over. I was thinking Do you want the epic quests to start coming mid-game, so you just get them? You obviously don't want one at the bottom. But I think with like Eureka, the Sloppy Labworks, Hexbion's Titan Librarian, ZOX Researcher, you have the ability to maybe go through your deck quite fast. So I'm very excited to actually test this out, because I don't play this deck before I start talking about it. I'm theoretically going over everything I think. And this is going to be, I think, a bit of a longer one of these episodes. Normally I'm pretty concise, but this one has a lot of really neat things. So as a result, I need to talk a little bit more for this, because I think there's really cool possibilities with this deck. Like I genuinely cannot wait to play this. And I just realized that this is this Patreon series should actually just be called Vaultboy's Vault, because he's just bringing out these really neat decks, and I know he's got a ton. We're only scratching the surface. I know there's some he's not even sharing with me, so that's even more cool. So let's talk about the other stuff here. I just went over the logos, why I like it, why it's going to be great. The Bi-Night Ruptures, I think are kind of interesting. For the reason being is it can create an interesting tempo situation where if you have a decent amount of Ember and you forged your first key, you can essentially, if you can have your silver key imp and it is, let's say, safeguarded, let's say that has happened, talking about interesting things here, you can actually Bi-Night Rupture if it's on the board and you have a first key and your opponent doesn't for some reason, where we'll put you in a situation where you can forge next turn and your opponent first doesn't get to forge. They have to deal with silver key imp and then they get to forge the following turn. So that tempo swing could actually be really huge. I think this is very much in the secondary or even tertiary or even just like this could happen scenario with this deck. I don't think you play for this. This is just something I see is that it could come out and this could happen. Desania is obviously really cool because I feel like the archiving side of the game has grown so much since the inception that being able to take advantage of a Desania, the threat of a Desania, I think is almost stronger than Desania itself, to be very honest. So that's really cool. This speed number of 8.3 I feel is under. I feel like this has a lot more speed than the stats are stating here. I don't agree with that number. Okay, let's go over to Dis now and keep going with this. Obviously Gongoozle, Pain Reaction, nice cards. A little bit of disruption and board control. Pain Reaction, again, really nice. What is Pain Reaction? It says, oh, enemy. I hate when it says enemy creature. Gold Key Imp is, I think, practically useless in this deck. The one truly dead card, I think, in this deck is Gold Key Imp. Because you do not want to have that on the board at all, because if you get into a position where your epic quests come and Gold Key Imp, that could stop you from getting that third key. So you really don't want to do that. Gold Key Imp, like I said, dead card or early game. That's how I'm viewing that. I've talked about the Onyx Knights. I love them. Cool thing too is if you have your Onyx Knights out, you can actually epic quest them and recur them, so it's even more board control in that way. Schuler, great. Yep. Spider's fine. I don't really care about Spider. Streak, very nice as well. It's good. Double Tesmal, though. Haven't talked about this yet. That is neat. If you can somehow set this up so Chell protects a double Tesmal, that would be outstanding. Like, I love that. It just creates opportunity. Even if you just have one, the opportunity is fantastic. So yeah, double Tesmal as well in this deck. Like, amazing. 2 Pip-Pips are also going to be very handy, I think. Just a little bit of disruption, something you throw down that's going to slow your opponent going. Because the idea is you are just waiting to get into this epic quest scenario, the Sanctum turn. Like, you're not playing Sanctum necessarily right away. You're going to hold out. I think playing Sanctum creatures is fine. But if I was your opponent with a double epic quest, I would be prioritizing eliminating the Sanctum creature. So that needs to be taken into consideration. I genuinely think you're going Logos and Dis to start the game and you're just chilling and waiting. And hopefully archiving a ton of Sanctum. I can't wait to see how this plays out. What do we got from there? Yeah, I like Eureka and then ZYX. Like turn 1 Eureka, I feel like is the play. Turn 1 Eureka or even a sloppy lab work, and then ZYX next turn to get your Eureka back and just keep going. I'm kind of liking that idea, especially if you're starting to get this Sanctum hand where you're holding a ton of Sanctum cards. I think it could be really good. Obviously, archiving doesn't help if you already are building up your archive of Sanctum cards. Eureka then kind of falls a little bit, or the ZYX, sorry, falls a little bit less in the realm of what you want. But you could always just archive the top card of your deck. Yeah, you know what? I take it back. I think if you can go Eureka, your archives is full of non-Sanctum cards to start the game. Then you go next turn ZYX to put Eureka back in your archive, and maybe you have some non-Sanctum cards. And then do Eureka again to try and get some of those Sanctum cards. I think that's how it goes. But the more I'm talking about this, the more I feel like I'm just full of it. So I'm taking this back. Eureka turn 1, get cards in there. If they aren't Sanctum cards, pull them and use them. If they are some Sanctum cards, you're off to the races. ZYX, top card in there. You want to cycle more. That's the line I'm going for. You just want to cycle more and get stuff in there. That's how this has to go. And then I literally think you just want to get that first key out of the way. And then after that, it doesn't matter. Go fast, get that first key, and then get into your Sanctum turn before your opponent gets to their third key. That's all it is. And if you can get that and have 7 cards in your archive, you're good. You are literally good. So that's why I'm playing this straight up and down. That's how we're doing it. I would say I wouldn't be worried about playing 1 Sumeros potentially, just because it provides a nice little bit of disruption, but be aware. But I think there's enough here that you're good, because it's essentially a 10 card and you need to place 7 of those left, because the 2 epic quests need to be removed from the equation. So yeah, that needs to be kept in mind. Yeah, I'm more feeling like you just need to hold off on Sanctum. The more I keep talking, that's how I'm feeling. You just gotta archive, just hold off and archive Sanctum. You're focusing on your dis and logos for the majority of the game. That's why I want to play this. I think it's cool. The dis ambassador though, that is very interesting, because even if you don't, getting that out could be really cool in case you need to set up. But like I said, the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm just feeling you just need to chill on your Sanctum and be patient. And so that's why I'm going to play this when I stream this on Saturday. I'm going to be patient with the Sanctum and just try and play the Logos and Dis. I may play this deck more than once, because I got to account for variance and I want to see how things happen. If it goes the way I'm talking about it, the way I think it will, and I can pull off the double epic quest, 1 game only. If not, I think I'm going to want to go for more than that. So that's why I want to play this. That's going to do it for this month's episode from Vaultboy's Vault. If you wish to become a person who gets the analysis of your deck every month, one of your choice, check out my Patreon. There's a few spots left to become one of these Patreon supporters. It's gonna be fun. I would love to keep doing this. I actually love looking at other people's decks and analyzing, especially when they have something interesting. So that does it for this week, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, may your Ember never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.